Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. Well, this has been the best series so far this year for the Rangers, having taken the first two up here in Toronto and a chance to sweep it today. Let's get into our Shiner Box spotlight, talking about the two starting pitchers, because it oftentimes comes down to their performances. Jay Happ has pitched well against the Rangers in his career and having a great year this year, especially with the strikeouts. Martin Perez has been good against Toronto, and CJ, he was at his best, at least this season, his last time out.
Yeah, and it was good to see. Martin had gotten off to a slow start, a little bit of a surprise, and when we dug in with Martin, there's not a lot there except that he was missing over the plate a little bit more. Of course, he's got that natural cut to his four-seam fastball, but the location was much better. In the last one, we saw some good movement there. You see the two-seam fastball running in on Vogelbach. That's certainly good location and something to keep an eye on today for Martin Perez. But a very good outing for him. Just 2 earned runs allowed over 6 innings, but maybe most importantly, the 1 walk to 4 strikeouts.
All right, so hoping for a repeat-type performance this afternoon from Martin Perez. That'll go a long way toward a sweep. Meanwhile, Jay Happ getting set to go for Toronto. Now, the lineup that the Rangers will run out against Jay Happ, Delano DeShields leading it off in center field. It's really the same looking lineup with one small adjustment. Chu batting second again, but today in right field. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at second base. Nomar Mazara, the DH, is batting cleanup. Gallo, Nunez, Profar at short. Then it's Robinson Chirinos catching, and Ryan Rua in left field.
They'll be going up against Jay Happ, the left-hander for the Toronto Blue Jays, and we'll take a look at the pitch arsenal and what we will see today. What Happ has used so far this season, 75% of the time it has been a fastball. He's got a slider as that first secondary offering. You'll see some changeups, some curveballs as well, but predominantly fastballs, one that'll sit 91 to 93 miles per hour. More 4-seamers than 2-seamers for Jay Happ. Sometimes that surprises you a little bit with lefties. You would expect to see that 2-seam fastball, but very similar to Martin Perez, throws both of them and uses them both quite a bit.
So Happ is ready to go, and he delivers one high to Delano DeShields, and we are underway this afternoon. Final game of this series yesterday. Delano again in the leadoff spot, and he takes in. DeShields scored a couple of runs yesterday, a 1-for-4 day with a walk. And look at that. They play him straight up.
So unusual.
Bouncer left side of the infield. Aledmus Diaz, no chance. And he throws that one up into the stands, and DeShields will have second base. You know, when he went over to the hole to get that, you got to be thinking with DeShields' speed, probably better off just holding it.
Well, the pride gets in the way a little bit, and for Diaz, he's thinking I can make a great play here and throw out a really fast runner, and that's the thought process, knowing that he has to hurry, knowing that he has to be perfect. And the exchange was good, but he rushed to throw and then ended up being offline. Now, even if he made a perfect throw, I'm with you. I think Delano DeShields probably beats that out. And it gets a little bit worse as you see the reaction there from Diaz on the poor throw that he was forced to rush because of the speed of Delano DeShields.
So, lead man on and in scoring position. The hit and the error. Chu comes in with the average at 250. 3 hits in the series. He's driven in 3 runs. It's been a good series for Chu. I mentioned today, not the DH, but getting the start in right field. So he always has a little extra pep in his step when he gets to play defensively as well. Understands his role as the primary DH, but is always excited when he gets to play.
Well, you know Chu wants to be out there, right? He has said that. He has not closed the door on playing defense, and we've seen him make some good plays this year. And I think part of that for a lot of hitters is just wanting to stay engaged and feeling like you're part of the game and stay in the flow, and the opportunities to play defense do that for a guy like him.
In a hole here, 0-2. And a very modest shift on Chu. He holds up. Oh no, he did not. They appealed down to third and rung up by Mike Winters.
take a look at this from the side here with Chu. We'll see whether or not he went and offered at this slider. That looked like it was certainly off the plate. And yeah, it's pretty close. Really, really close. Here's the Toronto defense. We'll take a look at what is behind Jay Happ this afternoon. Hernandez, Pilar, Grichuk getting a start in right field. In the infield, Solarte, Diaz, Gurriel Jr., and Justin Smoke, and Russell Martin back behind the plate after a day off yesterday.
First pitch in there for a strike to Kiner Falefa. 1 for 5 yesterday, batting in the 3-hole in this lineup, and right back in there again today. And he went around. 0-2. Kiner Falefa, when hitting behind Chu in the order, and this was part of the rationale for Jeff Bannister, he has a 500 on base average when he hits behind Chu. Now, it's only been a handful of games, but Bandy liked that idea of stacking some on base guys up ahead of Mazzara and Gallo, and figured there was a perfect spot for Falefa there.
I think it makes sense, and you look at what Kiner Falefa has done so far, and it's been a really nice surprise. I think the offensive production is not exactly what people were anticipating. Not that it's a knock on him, but he's just done a really nice job first time through the big leagues, and we've seen him hit the ball well, get on base. So why not go ahead and put him in the middle of the order as you're scrambling with all the injuries the Rangers have right now.
Has a start at second base today, facing the left-hander. It offers the Rangers a chance to put Renato Nunez in the lineup at third base, which moves Kiner Falefa over to second. So 2 days in a row he will man that position, and Jay Happ breaks contact with the rubber. So big Jay Happ, the left-hander, 35 years old now, from the suburbs of Chicago. It's his 6th start of the season, and coming off a good one. It's 2-2. Went 6 innings in his last start against Boston, and he struck out 10 Red Sox in, well, actually in 7 innings of work. It was his longest outing, exceeding previously 6 innings, his longest. Now I'm confused. 2-2 pitch, and that one fouled over the right side, out of play. Let's just put the numbers on the screen, and then I can read it. 7 innings, 4 hits.
To the experts. Really good outing, and you think about doing it against that Red Sox lineup, which has been pretty good so far this season. Good offense, much improved from last year with JD Martinez in that lineup.
Working hard here to Kiner Falefa, and misses outside. It's a full count.
About 20 or so thousand umpires in the stands that didn't appreciate that call, but a good take by Isaiah.
Tim Timmons, our plate umpire today. Well, the full count pitch, and fouled away again. So very healthy at bat here for Kiner Falefa. I mentioned he went 1 for 5 yesterday, but he's hit safely now in 9 of his last 10 games, to the tune of a .342 average over that stretch. This one blooped out toward right field. Coming on for it, Grichuk falls down first, tackled the baseball, and I think initially, are they calling that a catch? They are. Now that one is going to have to be reviewed because it results in a double play. The Shields was well around third, and I would be stunned if this was a clean catch.
Now we'll have to see. It certainly wasn't pretty. Here comes Randall Grichuk as he comes in. And that is amazing.
Oh my goodness.
I don't think that ball hit the ground. I think it hit his chest first. Watch it right here as he kind of stumbles, and yeah, go ahead, let it hit your chest. I mean, that's straight luck. That was straight luck, and Delano thought he had absolutely no chance, and you see Tony Beasley pointing back to let him know that there's a chance he'll catch it, and he did. And that's going to do it. So a little bit of luck there for the Blue Jays. I guess they'll take it. We'll see them hit when we get back here in the bottom of the first.
Look at the Blue Jays lineup. As you see Steve Pearce, the DH today, walking up to the plate. Teoscar Hernandez, the left fielder. Justin Smoak, Yonervis Solarte, Kevin Pillar. Then it's Martin, Gurriel, Grichuk, and Diaz for Toronto today. Martin Perez with the start for the Rangers and his first pitch. Looked pretty good, but a little bit tight. Perez 2 wins, 2 losses, a .982 earned run average. So the numbers in aggregate for Martin don't look very good, but he was much better his last time out. Pearce lofts this one up back of shortstop, playable for Profar, and one away. How about this open field tackle by Grichuk in right? I cannot believe this play.
Well, it hit his chest first, or no, actually hit his glove first, then went up in his chest, and then he just kind of trapped it in between his body and his glove. Delano DeShields didn't think he had any chance at catching it. Tony Beasley tried to get him to change direction, but at that point it didn't matter. There's no way that he was going to get back in time. So he kind of botched it where it hit his wrist, bounced up against his chest, and then he ended up trapping it up against his body. But yeah, it was certainly an awkward play.
Delano, to his credit, has made some things happen with some real aggressive base running.
No doubt.
In this series. And so I think just sort of continuing that trend, felt like maybe he had a good read on it. I mean, he did, right?
Yep.
I mean, it looked for a moment there like an impossible play, but it did end up biting him as Teoscar Hernandez now bats for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I think he made the decision that he thought it was going to be down, and he wanted to make sure that he was going to score. Because if you play it, where he's only 8-10 feet off of second base and that ball bounces, well, he's only going to be able to get to third. So he's thinking scoring in that spot, and that's why he was gone. And by the time he picked up Tony Beasley to point back to right field, it was too late. Let's take a look here at the pitch arsenal for Martin Perez and what he has used so far this season. 66% fastballs for Martin. It sits around 92, 93 miles per hour. It's a changeup, the curveball, and the occasional slider at 8%. Curveball's probably been the most effective, just a 111 batting average against for Martin with 0 home runs allowed on that pitch.
Hernandez fouls that one off, full count. Away, nobody on board. Teoscar Hernandez, the average a little under 300 coming into play today. About a 4-game hitting streak. Was recalled from AAA Buffalo in the middle of the month. Has done a really nice job since then. Backs away from a very close one there, and will draw the 1-out walk.
Let's take a look at the Rangers defense, which is delivered to you by New Braunfels this afternoon. Ryan Rua in left, Delano DeShields in center. As you mentioned, Shin Soo Choo in right field. Nunez and Profar on the left side, Connor Falefa and Gallo on the right, and Robinson Chirinos is catching Martin Perez.
Okay, so now Smoak. Switch hitting first baseman. Good power. And he takes one a little bit low. Smoak having a good series and lifted the average just a little bit. Overall, the numbers really good for him this year, especially the power numbers. And it's been a profitable homestand for him. Ground ball, third base. Nunez to second one. Kiner Falefa over to first. And they go around the horn. 5-4-3. The double play gets Martin Perez out of any trouble in the first. Coming up on this next homestand, the Boston Red Sox headed into town. They'll be in Arlington May 3rd through the 6th, currently with the best record in the American League, tied for the best record of baseball. So come see the Rangers take on the Red Sox in this 4-game series. Great seats still available at TexasRangers.com, or you can give them a call as well, 972-RANGERS. So Jay Happ goes back to work here in the second to Mazara. Nomar average at .297. And in continuing the trend of doing well against left-handers, you saw the numbers. He's done a nice job against Jay Happ, who's a good left-handed pitcher. Happ has been outstanding now for a long stretch since joining the Blue Jays, since he came here in 2016, a .336 ERA and 62 starts. Now, there's some big names and some flashy guys who have pitched here and are currently on the staff. I think guys like Marcus Stroman, who gets a lot of attention. But really, Happ has just sort of quietly behind the scenes chiseled away at opposing hitters and really does a nice job. 3-1 pitch. It's a full count.
Well, he's been good for the Toronto Blue Jays, and it's his second time around. And as he comes back here with the Jays, he's kind of a different guy than what they saw the first time. And Jay Happ pitched here 2013 and 2014 before he went to the Seattle Mariners, and then spent some time with the Pittsburgh Pirates. And that's when things really started to take a turn for him in his age 32 season. As he got a little bit older, he got a little bit better. And of course, Ray Searage, the pitching coach with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and that organization gets a lot of credit for finding some diamonds in the rough a little bit, maybe with some older players, getting them turned around a little bit. And Happ was fantastic in 11 starts for the Pirates, where he went 7-2, had a 1.85 ERA. So the Blue Jays brought him back, got a 3-year deal, and he's been terrific.
He uses the fastball there to get Mazara, second strikeout of the afternoon for Happ.
This is paint with the fastball going down and away. You're not going to throw it in a better spot than that. As you see our Fox tracks highlighting exactly where that pitch was from Jay Happ, and left on left, that's exactly where you want that. 92 miles an hour.
Well, strikeouts have been a big part of his game this year. And now Joey Gallo, and he turns this one foul. Happ has never really been a big strikeout guy. You see Gallo's numbers, power numbers, still piling up for him, and the average has been on the ascent. Gallo's last couple of weeks now, last 14 games, on base at a better than a 400 clip, a 283 average.
I mean, that right there, those are some tremendous numbers. And to ask a guy like Joey Gallo and say, you start to dream a little bit, right? You see that for 2 weeks and you wonder, is that something he could do wire to wire over a 6-month season? Certainly would be difficult to do, but with his kind of power to go with that, I mean, you're talking about a guy that would be in the MVP conversation. Some great players in the game right now, of course, without Tuve and Judge and Stanton's now, even though he's had a rough start in the American League, and Mookie Betts and other guys, and of course Mike Trout, who's a perennial candidate. But he would put himself, I think, with those kind of numbers and his 40 to 45 home runs, he would absolutely be in the conversation. Certainly that's what Joey continues to work toward. But he's been very good over the last couple of weeks.
A 5 for his last 10. 3-2 pitch. Ooh, right in there for a strike 3. Another fastball from Happ, and he seems to be sneaking that up on guys. It's not an overpowering fastball. 92 to Mazara to get him, 93 to Gallo.
Yeah, so I think what it is how you get there, right? And we saw some sliders, and I wonder for Joey Gallo if he was maybe guessing along a little bit or looking for something else. That ball just jumped on him a little bit, or maybe thought it was going to cut off the plate. You see the frustration right away as soon as that thing went down the middle. Joey Gallo would love another shot at that pitch.
Oh, big swing by Renato Nunez, and that ball is going to carry way out of here. A solo shot for Nunez, his first as a Ranger, and Texas takes the early lead.
Well, this is what we knew about Renato Nunez, and coming up, the acquisition, of course, from the Oakland A's, is that he had tremendous power last year that he showed off in AAA. It's just his second big league homer, as you mentioned, his first with the Rangers, but there's the fastball that split the plate that he was all over, and Happ knew it right away. Four-seam fastball that they wanted away, but it ended up finishing middle. For a guy who showed off the power last year, 32 home runs in the Pacific Coast League. Rangers saw an opportunity with all the injuries that he could be a guy that could fill in, especially against lefties. They would see this once in a while. That was a big one and a loud one.
Profar now 1-1 the count, and Jurickson powdered a ball yesterday as well. His first home run of the year and put an end to a long homerless stretch for him. 1-0 Rangers on top. That ball hit so high, you see, I think his Nunez's ears may have popped. That was a majestic shot. 2-1 pitch and a liner out into left center field. Base hit for Profar.
Jerks Profar a little smile there after that base hit. There's another pitch. This one was right on the corner away. I thought that was a change of a fastball from Happ, but a good job by Jurickson to go out there and get that. Get himself that line drive base hit. Keep this inning alive with 2 outs.
So now Chirinos hit his 5th home run of the year, well, 4th and 5th home runs of the year in yesterday's Rangers win. And pops this one foul out of play. And Chirinos, he might be a candidate to do it again today. He's had great numbers against Jay Happ, 3 for 6 with a home run against him. Boy, he was swinging it yesterday. I'm sure very happy to be right back to the lineup again today with a chance to do it against a guy he sees well. Inside 1-1. Chirinos on a 4-game hitting streak at the moment. 3 homers, 2 doubles. That's pretty good. 1-1. And that's very high for ball 2. So our TXU Energy power player to watch is Robinson Chirinos. Makes plenty of sense. You look at home runs by catchers. Yadier Molina currently the leader, but in the American League, Chirinos and Gary Sanchez tied for the American League lead.
Molina having a little bit of a renaissance season with the St. Louis Cardinals. You see Robinson kick the batter's box line right there, and much like Joey Gallo, would love another shot at that fastball. I don't know if guys are having a little bit of an issue maybe picking it up, or it's not exactly ending up where they thought it was going to. They're jumping on a couple of these hitters so far with a good 4-seamer.
Stays 2-2. So it was a 2-out homer by Nunez. Profar followed with the sharp single to left center. And Chirinos strikes out swinging, so Happ ends up striking out the side. But the Rangers take the early lead. A solo shot, and it was a soaring home run from Renato Nunez, his first as a Ranger. Texas leads 1-0. 1-0 Rangers lead. Our Kubota power stats this afternoon are for Martin Perez and his ability to get the ground balls and turn them into double plays. 83 of them since 2015, and that is most in Major League Baseball.
Of course, Martin does such a great job in those spots. It's interesting that we talk about that with his double plays because he's been so good, but it's not like he has that unbelievably high ground ball rate. You know, think of guys like Marcus Stroman and Dallas Keuchel. They're in the 60% range. Martin Perez has been slightly above league average in that regard. He's 47% this year on the ground balls, but he's got a knack for it. And when you have that many double plays, it's not something you say, oh, it's just kind of happenstance where he gets lucky. No, he knows when he needs to make that pitch, when he tries to get that ground ball in those spots.
This ball hit well by Solarte, and it will end up in the stands. Wow. Solo home run by Anervis Solarte ties the game at 1. It's his 7th home run this year. 5 of them have come at home.
And that's not surprising. It's a good ballpark to hit in. The ball gets up in the air. It's going to go. And also you think about the division as well here in the American League East. But this pitch sat in the middle. You see it down over the middle for Solarte. It's been a big boost to this offense. Not necessarily what you would expect from him to hit in the middle of the lineup, but he got himself an 82-mile-an-hour changeup. It was down, but it was middle. And he was all over it.
So a new game, and now Kevin Pillar. Boy, Solarte, what a start to the year for that young man. Blue Jays have needed it desperately too. Well, Tulowitzki, which could more or less assume coming into the season, but without Josh Donaldson, who's also on the disabled list, they've needed somebody to step in and drive in some of the runs, and Solarte's been able to do it. Pillar not happy with that one. 2-1.
That was a little animated conversation, and Martin Perez will take that pitch, and if he can get it consistently, that would be a huge help. We talk about keeping the ball down, trying to get ground balls. You could certainly get it with that strike. And what's so interesting about that, right? So you have that conversation. I mentioned Timmons behind home plate tonight. Pillar says something to him, but Martin Perez is like, oh, okay, that's a strike. And you go back there again, and when he doesn't call it, then Martin Perez is going to have a problem with the umpire. And then you basically kind of tip your hand a little bit and say, well, you know, if you don't call it the next time, then you're admitting that you got it wrong the first time, right? And so you're agreeing with the hitter. So there's that back and forth with umpires that can be difficult, and what pitchers will tell you and hitters will tell you the same thing. All they want, they understand things will vary from umpire to umpire, but they just want consistency as much as possible.
Full count pitch, and that one misses way up high to Pillar. So the home run, and now the second walk of the afternoon. Perez maybe still feeling around for it a little bit right now, and he'll have to deal with Russell Martin, a guy who has had good success against Perez in his career. Martin, not a good start to the year at the plate, just the 140 average. But 4 for 8 against Martin Perez, and he hits this ball sharply back up the middle and off Martin. There will be, well, there is a play, but it's not going to be in time. I'm surprised Nunez even offered, but it was closer than I'd imagine. I guess with the catcher, Russell Martin, running, Nunez felt like maybe there was still a shot.
Well, you certainly know your runner, and you think about it. We talk about this a lot, understanding the time and the internal clock. As that thing caught Martin Perez flush on the shoe, and it was a close play and a good hustle. But watch his left foot right here. I mean, almost like he tried to stop it with his foot intentionally. That's just what happens sometimes with pitchers, the reactions that you have in those spots. And let's see if Martin Perez is okay. It sounded loud off of his foot. You never know if that was just leather or if he's actually in some pain. That is the push off foot for Martin Perez, and he says he's fine, doesn't even want any extra tosses.
Well, that's a good news.
So we got the ground ball there, even though it was right back to him, and it turned into an infield base hit. We're just talking about, though, Martin Perez's knack for getting those ground balls. Certainly one would be welcomed here.
Well, and that sets up a routine triple play now. Lourdes Gurriel takes one tight.
And for fans of the sacrifice bunt, and I don't mind the sacrifice bunt, but you're hitting your 7-hole hitter right now. And, you know, flip the script, put yourself in John Gibbons' shoes. You got a home run, a walk, and an infield single to start the inning, and it feels like it could be a big inning. I don't know if you necessarily want to give an out away right here.
I got to tell you, I'm a fan of small ball and you know, guys with productive at bats and all that kind of stuff when the time is right. No.
Yeah.
Randall Grichuk waiting on deck is in a massive funk. So you want to take your chance with Gurriel, who hit his first big league home run yesterday. And he did not go 2-1.
So many things go into it. That's what happens when we have these conversations about where we are with advanced metrics and playing percentages and everything else. And a lot of times when you do have those conversations, you're reading articles, it's put into a vacuum and just say, okay, this percentage says this and this is what you should do. Well, every game dictates exactly what you should do based on kind of what's going on, your personnel, the opposing pitcher, what's happening in the game at that moment. All of those things have to come into play. So when someone says to you, no, don't bunt here because 54% of the time you'll actually score more runs as opposed to when you don't bunt. And while that may be true, and I made that number up, it's, you know, somewhere in there where it's a slightly higher percentage. You'll score more than one run. Got to look at the game situation.
Well, this is a big pitch right here. 3-1 to Gurriel, and a bouncer right side. Kiner Falefa gets it to second for one, on to first, not in time. And Pilar thought about it for a moment over at third base, but Gallo kept it close enough. So one out, and now runners on the corners.
And even though Joey Gallo dropped this ball, Gurriel was going to be safe. And talk about it so often with Martin Perez. He got the ground ball that he wanted, but Gurriel moved down the line pretty quickly. I don't think it would have made a difference. You see Jurickson Profar getting out of the baseline, something to keep an eye on with him, right? He had those issues where he's had some contact on double plays where he has stepped right into the runner that comes into second base with the slide. So he did a good job of getting out of the way there. But with one out, another opportunity here for Martin Perez to try to get that ground ball.
Well, and he's facing a guy who is, say he's in a funk, might be a bit of an understatement. 5 hits for the year, 0.79 average. And he is hitless in his last 18. Randall Grichuk has really struggled. And you see in that 0 for 18, 8 strikeouts.
Yeah, the highest strikeout rate of any Blue Jay. Now, he doesn't hit a lot of ground balls. He is more of a fly ball hitter. He's certainly a big strikeout pitcher.
High fly ball, shallow left field. Rua in good position. Pilar's going to challenge him. The throw comes through to the plate. And Pilar able to score. Sacked fly by Grichuk. And Toronto leads 2-1.
Now, Ryan Rua has such a good arm, and I thought there was a chance that he would get Pilar here. Of course, you got to think about the runner. And Pilar is certainly a great runner, but look at Ryan Rua, puts himself in perfect position, strong throw, right on line, a 2-hopper, and that maybe would have cost him. It would have been pretty tough. 1 hop probably makes this a little bit closer, but there's probably not much you can do, even though that was a shallow fly ball. Pilar just too fast.
So Blue Jays with the early lead, and now here is Aledmys Diaz, the shortstop and 9th place hitter for Toronto. The pitch from Martin up and away for a ball. Been a tough homestand for Diaz, just 1 for 13 on this homestand. He swings and misses way out in front of that one. It's 1-1.
And he's really struggled against lefties this year. Just a 136 batting average. Hasn't looked great on off-speed pitches. Seen him go out of the zone a little bit as well. And so you see Martin Perez so far with back-to-back changeups to start this at bat.
Fouled over to the right side. 1-2 the count. It's going to be interesting to watch this guy's trajectory. Where does Diaz go? You know, when he came up with the Cardinals, such a big-time star, a real flash in St. Louis, an all-star as a rookie, hit 300 with 17 home runs. And it's kind of been a retreat from there since. Traded, some struggles. 1-2 pitch. Strike 3 called. And he goes down looking and has a word with Tim Timmons. So Perez gets the strikeout to win the second. But the Blue Jays bite back, and it's a 2-1 game.
Brought to you by T-Mobile. And you know who was built for baseball? Pablo Sandoval. Not only for baseball, but for pitching. The Panda out there doing it for the San Francisco Giants and doing it well. Good mechanics. 3 up and 3 down for him with just 3 ground balls. And he threw a really nice curveball as well. That's some good break. It was down 69 miles per hour to go along with that 86, 87 mile an hour fastball. The Panda. Maybe a new life for him. Extend that career by a few more years.
Ryan Rua smacks one through the left side of the infield for a base hit, and we're underway in the 3rd inning. Yeah, well, we'll get to it in a minute.
Take a look at this pitch here. Up and away. Good job by Ryan Rua. Get himself on base. It was good to see that hit from yesterday get turned to a triple. He's had some bad breaks. I know it's been a slow start to the season. Some up and down for Ryan Rua, but swinging the bat a little bit better. And a couple hits now in the last 2 days.
Let's look at that lead man on ahead of DeShields. So Sandoval, as you're pointing out, that fastball looked good. His delivery mechanics, I mean, they looked awesome. The amazing thing about Pablo Sandoval, to me, is he's a natural left-handed thrower. Grew up.
I did not know that.
Left-handed. But here was the thing. He wanted to play shortstop and catcher as a little kid, and so he begged his dad to teach him how to throw right-handed, so that he could play on the infield and he could play catcher. So his dad taught him to throw right-handed, and that's how he plays, so that all this time he could hit and play the infield.
So under normal circumstances, you would say that's an absurd idea, right? If you could throw left-handed, throw left-handed. But you look at his career and you say, you know what? He made the right decision.
It worked out.
It worked out pretty well. But it's usually the opposite, right? There are parents especially dads and moms that are huge baseball fans. That son is born. They watch him closely those first couple years. Fingers crossed that he'll pick up a ball with his left hand, and that's how he wants to throw it. Because as you know, you don't even have to be that good, just really average at best. Play in the big leagues and maybe even get to call a few games.
I'm telling Jay Happ, you said that as he strikes out to Shields. 5th strikeout today for Happ. 1 away in the 3rd.
Jay Happ has used the fastball pretty well here. You see him trying to go inside to Delano to Shields. It finished over the plate, but I got to tell you, he's got pretty good rotation on that 4-seam fastball. I just think it's jumping on these guys a little bit here today as we're seeing some called 3rd strikes. That's the third one of the day for Happ.
So now Chu, 0 for 1. He struck out swinging in the 1st inning, and he takes one in the dirt.
So we joke around a little bit about left-handers, but certainly more opportunities. Obviously much less left-handed pitching around the game, left-handed hitters, whatever it may be. There was a longtime baseball writer in Detroit by the name of Gene Guidi, who had no problem saying to me directly, being left-handed in baseball is like having a license to steal. Well, that's fine. You don't have to say it to me directly. I know what you're getting at. But he's right.
He probably wasn't the only one to mention it.
No, he's the only one that said it to my face, though. But there's definitely some truth to it. You see it. I mean, you look around these bullpens, and you got 2 left-handers here for the Blue Jays, 2 for the Rangers.
1-1 pitch. And then smacked foul, strike 2. No, that's definitely a great advantage for pitchers.
Yeah.
But boy, I'll tell you what, if you want to play infield, you better get used to the view from first base.
Yep. No doubt. You certainly get limited in that regard. Then if you can be the right-handed thrower, left-handed swinger, it's going to open up some more opportunities for you as well.
Chu takes a little bit high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now we're looking at a left-hander right here, and Jay Happ, who for whatever reason this year has suddenly become a strikeout pitcher, averaging almost 13 strikeouts per 9.
Yeah, it's been pretty unbelievable to see how things have changed for him as
Rua
nice
takes
job.
second base, straight steal, and for Ryan, his 3rd of the year.
For Jay Happ, the first stolen base that he has allowed this season. He's done pretty well holding runners over the course of his career, but a good read by Ryan Rua, and also a ball in the dirt. As you see Russell Martin trying to make that throw. Potential base stealers now 7 for 9 against Russell Martin this season. I was going to say what's even more rare is the left-handed thrower, right-handed hitter. It's something you don't see too often, but that it has happened in the big leagues.
(3-2), and there's a slow roller, second base. It allows Rua to go to 3rd, but there are 2 out in the inning. All right, time for a Chevy game break. Let's check in with John Radigan. Well, I mean, they can never send him back down. They don't ever lose.
Good luck charm at least, right?
Yeah.
So do you know who the greatest left-handed thrower, right-handed hitter was in our game?
That's a good question. 1-1 to Kiner Falefa.
Say the last 2 years. I'll give you a little hint. Last 2 years, he was passed by Adrian Beltre on the all-time hit list.
And you say this one lined to shortstop, and Diaz right there to win the inning. So a leadoff hit for the Rangers, but it does not blossom. We played 2.5, and the Blue Jays lead 2-1. in the Rogers Center. And we want to invite you to check out Spitballin', the Texas Rangers podcast featuring Jared Sandler and Ben Rogers. Listen every week as Ben and Jared give their expert insight and analysis on the Rangers season. You can go to texasrangers.com/podcast and subscribe via iTunes. So check it out. Spitballin'.
I love that graphic.
Yeah, very cool. Now,
brought me back to 7th grade. Got a lot of trouble for spitballing a little bit too much.
Ground ball shortstop. Nice play by Profar to his left. It takes care of Pierce to start this 3rd inning.
So you were hard at work trying to figure out greatest left-handed thrower, right-handed hitter. One of the oddest combinations in our game.
You've locked me up a little bit on this one.
Yeah, not easy for me to do.
I was working on spitballing in the break. But what would you say? They have good speed.
Great speed. Adrian.
Modern era.
Yep. Adrian passed him within the last couple of seasons on the all-time hit list.
So last year.
Last couple of seasons. Within the last couple of seasons.
Swings and misses.
Or the last couple of months.
See, now Hernandez walked. And this one high in the air out to right field. And that's not coming back. Home run for Teoscar Hernandez. 4th of the year for Hernandez. Blue Jays lead 3-1.
We know this guy can hit the ball hard. And look at the glove there for Robinson Trinos. Wanted that ball down and in, and look where it ended up, over the middle. And we saw him driving the ball the other way early in this series, and right away you could pick up on it. He's a guy that has hit the ball hard, been near the top in all of baseball as far as exit velocity, but also his ability to hit it the other way, which is a dangerous combination for a left-handed pitcher. You can get a right-handed batter who squares the ball up really well and can hit it the other way. Make a mistake over the plate. A lot of times that can be the result.
We got a strike into Justin Smoke, then misses the bottom of the zone. Smoke grounded into a double play in the 1st inning. He is 0 for 1. Breaking ball rolled to shortstop again, and Profar takes care of it. Smoke retired, 2 away. All right, well, our statistician BJ slipped me a little note.
He couldn't take it anymore. He couldn't watch you suffer the way that you were suffering. Correct. Ricky Henderson. Far and away the most hits, most games played in our game. Jimmy Ryan is next, and to give you an idea what happens with the list, Jimmy Ryan is the 2nd most games played for a left-handed thrower, right-handed hitter. He played in the late 1800s. Hal Chase. Let's see if there's any names on here that you would even recognize. Cody Ross, you would know. Ryan Ludwig.
Oh yeah.
Ranger fans certainly know him.
Solarte pounded a ball for a home run in the 2nd inning, and while that was a long strike, it was pretty solid contact right there. The feeling that he's kind of comfy.
And I think that's been a little bit of the issue too with Martin Perez. We've seen a lot of hits this year, but some hard contact, more than we're used to seeing from him, and something he's been trying to address and work on.
That ball hit sharply, but right to Kiner Falefa, and it ends the inning. Hernandez with a home run for the Blue Jays gives them the 3-1 lead. And as we go to the 4th, Nomar Mazara will lead things off for the Rangers. See if we can get this offense going. Rate of solo home runs in this series, 3-1. Blue Jays leading. We go to the fourth. Mazara, Gallo, Nunez do this inning against Jay Happ. Happ gets one right in there for a strike. Nomar struck out looking in the second. One of 5 strikeout victims so far today for Happ. And a bouncer right side. Gurriel is there. And Mazara retired to start the inning. Now Joey Gallo.
So not surprising here for Joey Gallo as he is going to look into the shift, as he pretty much does every single at bat. Overall for the Blue Jays, they're kind of middle of the road as far as how often they shift. 22nd in Major League Baseball with their 177 at bats with shifts so far this year. If you're curious, the Rangers are 26. They have shifted using the Fangraphs data 140 times. Now the data is tricky in that regard because we have so much access, so many great resources on the internet, and they all don't line up exactly the same, which can get a little frustrating. So a lot of times when we throw those numbers out at you, I like to let you know where we get them because you may see something different somewhere else.
Well, because the minute you give me a stat on shifts, I'm sure you can imagine my question is, well, what constitutes a shift? High pop-up left side of the infield. Playable for Diaz, and there are 2 away. All right, let's pause for a moment for a word from our friends at Southwest Kia.
$250 down, $250 a month or less on select new Kias in stock, only at southwestkia.com.
2 gone, and here is Renato Nunez, had the home run in the second inning. Takes off the plate for a ball, and it was a towering home run. One of those where I guess those rare occasions where you would say to yourself, yeah, I kind of am curious what the launch angle was, or maybe the apex, as it were. How high did he hit that thing? Because he got under it.
So you want to know what it was? Is that what you're getting?
Oh, do you have it?
Well, no. So I think some of our stuff is down today, unfortunately. Or they're just still sleeping here on Sunday morning in
could be
MLB Advanced Media.
Nunez shoots this one the other way, foul, 1-2.
Which who could blame them? Cold weather around a lot of the country. Why not?
So part
sleep in?
Part of the intrigue with, you know, when you look at the Statcast data on fly balls, for me is the fact that we saw this a number of times last year. Joey Gallo would hit one and he hits them very high, and there were occasions where, well, the data was just missing, and no one could really tell us. And then we'd find out much later. I mean, maybe an hour or so later, a perceived distance was such and thus.
Yeah.
And what we found out this last winter was that Joey basically broke Statcast. Went a little bit in, and Major League Baseball figured out, they're like, we don't have enough radar, or at least radar aimed high enough to get all of Gallo's fly balls. And so they had to go around all 30 stadiums and install an additional piece of radar to make sure they could get the really towering shots that he provides. As Nunez stays alive. So that guy single-handedly forced Major League Baseball and their partners into installing extra equipment at every ballpark.
Yeah, so Joey Gallo has become an expense for Major League Baseball. It's probably not inexpensive to do that, right? It's not coming out of his pocket. He can't be held responsible for that situation.
3-2. Oh, it's strike 3 called. Another called third strike for Jay Happ and his 6th strikeout of the afternoon. The left-hander cruising so far today. Which reminds me, CJ, I hope you marked it down on the calendar. May 9th, the Rangers and the Tigers, and it's another Texas Chili Company $1 hot dog day. So you come on out to Globe Life Park, a 105 game, and enjoy ballpark hot dogs for just $1 each. Go to TexasRangers.com for tickets or call 972-RANGERS.
How about those fixings? They look a little different than maybe
So Canadian
what
fixings
we might consider common in the U.S. Did I see some green peppers in there, which may help us solve our mystery from yesterday? Remember the green pepper that got thrown on the field? Potentially, maybe a angry hot dog vendor. Just a guess.
High pop-up down the right side. Long run out there. Gallo and Chu and Kiner Falefa all near it, but nobody could get it. Oh, there are your fixings.
All right, so what we got? We got some green peppers. I see some onions. I'm okay with the onions. Some red peppers or tomatoes?
Red peppers.
Mushroom. Is that a mushroom I see there?
It's like a cheesesteak station or something.
Yeah, very interesting.
2-strike pitch, and
what do you got? 34, 35 centimeters on those?
Ooh, I don't know. No, 30 maybe. It's like 30, right? Those have to be a foot long.
They're definitely not a foot long. That's not even that doesn't even come to the equation.
That's how I see it, though. I'm projecting my own set of values on those Canadian hot dogs, and then translating it to what I believe to be 30, maybe 31 centimeters.
Yep. 12 inches will give you 30.5 centimeters. So that would be a good guess. But they don't want to hear your foot talk up here. Not interested.
There's a high fly ball out to left field. Brewer going back. Might have room, but does not. Kevin Pillar adds a solo home run. His 4th of the year. And it's just solo shot after solo shot in this series.
It's number 9, right?
4-1 lead, yeah, 9.
9 solo home runs that we have seen in the 2+ games here with the Rangers and the Blue Jays. And Pillar, who hit a couple. You see this breaking ball. It's backdoor, it's down, but because it's on the outer half of the plate, it gives Pillar an opportunity to get those arms extended. You know, it's interesting. You watch that one, it got out, but barely got out over the guys out in the bullpen, in Toronto's bullpen. But he knew it right away. He was confident as he left the box and was going around first base before that ball even landed. Give you an idea how they know how well the ball will carry here. You get it up in the air at Rogers Center, and it will go.
Martin takes low, 1-1 the count. Had the base hit in the second inning. That one he hit sharply back up the box, right off Martin Perez. Now 2-1. So today down in the clubhouse, talking to Jeff Bannister before the game, we're talking about his bullpen, and Matt Moore, who has been in the pen for the past couple of days, scheduled to start likely on Wednesday, but technically available out of the bullpen today. And we were discussing that very topic, and Banny said, yeah, I mean, sure, he would be available, I guess. He said if, I don't know, Martin, develops a hangnail on his way out to the bullpen, or if he, throws a shoe out there. And
yeah,
Stephen Stevenson for the Fort Worth Star-Telegram says, "What? Throw his shoe? What do you mean? Why would he throw his shoe?" So next thing you know, we're going down that conversation about horses, and it just struck me as funny that Russell Martin would hit one back, and hit Martin on the shoe on a very day where that might have been a bit of a concern.
Those are the kind of things that you just never know, and you want to be prepared, and you have to be prepared. And you think about building your bullpen, and there are certain roles, even though roles have changed, and maybe some of them now blur the lines of each other, and you get put into multiple roles. But you got to have your guy. You need to know if something were to happen early. What do you want to do? Who would you go to? Now, of course, we know Jesse Chavez has been a guy that has been used as a long man and has taken on a lot of innings, and he's on 3 days rest right now, so he certainly could fill in a role like that if necessary, and has done it. But yeah, you want to have a guy down there just in case. And if you have extra days in between your starts, the way that they're kind of anticipating here with Matt Moore, and there's sometimes you have to go down to the bullpen for a couple of days in case of emergency.
Gurriel takes high, 1-1. Rookie Gurriel called up this year from Double-A. Blue Jays signed him to a 7-year, $22 million deal out of Cuba in November of 2016, along about the same time his brother was signed by the Houston Astros. And he's a good contact guy. Not going to strike out a ton. He grounded out in the second inning. 0 for 1 today. Made his big league debut a week ago yesterday. Perez checks in on Russell Martin. Don't figure to be going anytime soon. So last year was the first year in the Blue Jays system for Gurriel, and he was held back by a hamstring injury that kind of truncated his development a little bit. 2-2 the count. And then this year started the year in the minor leagues, but now he is up, and it'll be interesting to see how he progresses here in the big leagues, if he indeed needs to go back, spend more time in the minor leagues eventually. But from the looks of things early on, he's got some nice athleticism, looks really good out on the infield. Strong arm, 2-2 pitch. And he stays alive.
Yeah, he has looked good so far, and of course it's only been 7 games. This is number 8 for him. And look what he did in the minor leagues. You mentioned the 2017 season. It didn't go particularly well for him, but trying to figure some things out. First time in the States and all that he went through in that kind of situation. Of course, not playing in 2016 as well, but this year at the minor league level, he was really good in Double-A, and they like what they saw, hitting .347 when he left and an on base at .382. And so far, the quality of bats have been pretty good here for him.
2-2, and he rips that one foul.
It could be. I mean, there's injuries, obviously. Josh Donaldson, who they think will be back sooner than later. He's been on a rehab assignment. Of course, Troy Tulowitzki has been out. So guys have gotten moved around a little bit as far as what you do at second base. You have Diaz you could use there once you get back to full strength. Of course, Devin Travis as well. You can make a decision on who you think could be your guy, who you want to see the most of this year.
That one in the dirt, blocked by Chirinos. He'll hustle it down to second, but Russell Martin scrambles ahead and is safe. A wild pitch now from Martin Perez. Really not a real sharp start so far.
Take a look here. This ball's down in the dirt. Looked like a two-seam fastball that cut across a little bit from Martin, and good hustle from Robinson Chirinos. And under normal circumstances, probably not even thinking about throwing that ball, but knowing that you have Russell Martin running, not a great runner, he thought he'd take a shot.
And that's ball 4. So Martin would have gotten there anyway. And Doug Grokale already calling out to that bullpen. So it'll be interesting to see how much is left for Perez today.
What's interesting there, that was an 8-pitch at bat. I thought that was a fastball in the dirt. It was actually a changeup. And so of an 8-pitch at bat that he just threw to the 7-hole hitter, a young guy. Again, you see some things there, but certainly not a guy with a track record yet at the big league level. Martin Perez threw 1 fastball to Gurriel there over that 8-pitch at bat. That's a little bit surprising. So I wonder if the confidence after the 3 home runs, solo home runs that he's allowed today, if that's a pitch that he's feeling a little tentative about so far.
Well, he's walked 4. He's allowed 4 hits. 3 of the hits have left the yard. He's not retired a batter yet in this 4th inning. And you're talking about, in the case of Martin Perez, a guy who has given up a lot of hard contact And his first now 5 starts of the year. Foul tip. The count 0-2 on Randall Grichuk. Grichuk lifted the sac fly in the second inning. That is the run that put Toronto in front for the first time today. Oh, 2. Bouncer, and that one is through into left field. That's a base hit for Grichuk. Martin will stop at third. Good job by Rua. Came up with that one quickly. And for Grichuk, that snaps an 0 for 18 for him.
Martin Perez was way ahead in the count, 0-2 to Grichuk. We know about the struggles. We talked about it. He unfortunately does pretty poorly here on the command. Watch the pitch. Look where he goes on 0-2. Ball's down the middle. It's down, but it's a changeup that is cut. And we talked about this a lot with Martin Perez. The fastball would cut, but the changeup right now seems to be cutting as well. It's back-to-back changeup. You think about 0-2 as you see Russell Martin going around third and then being held up, but 0-2, and you're throwing a changeup as a left-handed pitcher to a right-handed hitter. You're trying to turn that ball over. You're trying to get it to fade away from the righty, and you're trying to throw it below the zone. You want to start it on the corner so it looks like a strike, and it finishes nowhere near the zone, and you're going for that swing and miss, and you're trying to get a guy to chase something out of the zone, especially a guy that's been struggling as bad as Grichuk has. And the battle for Martin right now, that ball just, it didn't sink very much, and it cut right back over the middle of the plate. Now there could be extension, it could be some tightness for whatever the reason. He was unable to get all the way through that pitch. But as a lefty, when you're facing 9 right-handed hitters, it could be really dangerous if you're having a hard time keeping that ball on the outside part of the plate and it keeps kind of drifting back to the middle.
Well, he has the bases loaded now. The 9th place hitter, Ledmus Diaz, at the plate. And he misses his way in. I wonder too, is there any chance that the ball off his foot bothered him at all? I mean, it wasn't very sharp beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't react as if it did. He didn't take any warm-ups afterwards when they talked to him. So it's certainly possible. And, you know, Martin is a guy that's going to play through anything. We know, of course, after what happened this offseason, hurt his right arm dealing with that bull on his ranch, that he was determined to get back right away. And so even if it was affecting him, I'm not sure he would let on as if it were affecting him. He wants to be out there. He's a competitive guy. He's not going to let anything like that slow him down.
All right, the 2-0 pitch, and a big swing and a foul ball by Diaz, figuring he was going to get something good there and just missed his pitch perhaps. Diaz with 4 home runs on the year and 9 RBIs. Has 1 grand slam in his career, and it came on his return from visiting the late Jose Fernandez's family after Jose Fernandez tragically passed away a couple of years ago, and Diaz fouls this one back. 2-2. Barnett continues to loosen up in the bullpen.
It's only 66 pitches here so far for Martin Perez, but with the bases loaded and nobody out, the Rangers are still in this game at 4-1. He may be batter to batter at this point as he gets ready to turn the order over for the 3rd time after Diaz.
2-2, and a swing and a foul tip into Chirinos' glove for a strikeout, and that's a big one right there for Martin Perez.
It certainly is, and this was a pitch that he was able to keep at the outside part of the plate. As we were talking about earlier, the balls that were cutting, look at that one stay there, more of where he wanted it. Diaz swings right through that pitch, out on his front leg, a little bit unbalanced in that swing. It's a big out for Martin Perez as he battles to stay in this game. Now if he can get that ground ball we've talked about, so good at getting them in these kinds of spots. Pierce may be a good candidate for that right now. He's hit a fly ball and a ground ball against Martin through 2 at-bats.
Steve Pierce takes up and away. Well, the Rangers have done a decent job of containing opposing teams with the bases loaded. Lord knows we have seen that the Rangers struggle in those spots offensively. Down low, 2-0 to Pierce. Pierce, the guy that DH today, batting in the leadoff spot, and he's an intriguing guy. Hits lefties so well, at least in even-numbered years, and you know, from the leadoff spot, he can get on for you frequently. He's got some pop in that bat. 3 career grand slams for him.
Tell you what, though, Martin Perez, if he can locate down and away, he can get that ground ball. Pierce is a guy who does not drive the ball the other way very often.
Popped up. That one headed toward the seats for strike 1.
It's a good example of it right there. That was the pitch that he wanted. You see how Pierce just kind of fouled that pitch off and fighting it off. Take a look at the glove, look at the pitch, pretty good location. You see Pierce pulling off a little bit and catching it off the end of the bat. Now Kevin Harmon is going to come out and check in on Robinson Chirinos and make sure he's okay. Looks like he's pointing to his neck. I don't know if the back got him or a previous foul tip.
Wow. Yeah, man, of course, you start tracking the foul ball immediately. I did not notice if the follow through might have gotten him or something. That must have been what happened. Let's take a look.
Oh, no. I mean, that's kind of a weird follow through. It's not the follow through, but then the re-follow through, I guess, or as you start to come back a little bit, and that is something you don't see every day.
Unpleasant.
Yeah,
I mean, that can't.
Gratefully, that we don't see it every day.
Catchers, man, what a life.
Well, Robinson talked with us post game yesterday about that foul tip.
Yeah.
They caught toward the end of the game. He said, you know, it's just part of being a catcher. You hope that you can get through an entire game without them, but the reality is you have to deal with it.
Just off the plate, 3-1 to Pierce.
But you see the movement there, and I think that's probably part of the issue. That one actually faded away the way that Martin Perez wanted it to. He starts it on the corner, but because some of those pitches were cutting, you know, the margin is a little bit difficult for him right now. Because if he can start that on the outer third and run it away, he's in great shape. If it cuts back, it's a dangerous pitch.
Soft liner, that one caught by Kiner Falefa, and back to the bag for the double play. Nicely done. A moment of hesitation as everybody looking around. Where should I go? But Kiner Falefa took care of business, inning over.
Oh, it was hard attack, but Martin Perez will take it. Good alignment on the defense by the Rangers, and a nice unassisted double play for Kiner Falefa.
Early this afternoon, and we invite you to enjoy your next Rangers game in the comfort of a climate-controlled suite. Most suite rental packages include parking and a food and beverage package as well. Check it out at texasrangers.com/suites or call 972-RANGERS. Come out and enjoy a ball game from beautiful Globe Life Park. Big homestand coming up. Like the schedule gets pretty testy here for the Rangers. Boston and Detroit on the next homestand. Of course, our next stop on this road trip in Cleveland. Next road trip takes us to Houston. I mean, there's some stout competition on the schedule in these next couple of weeks.
Certainly the Rangers will be challenged. Maybe we'll start to see some of the guys coming back a little bit from injury, hopefully getting that original starting lineup back out there. But in the meantime, some good opportunities for guys like this man right here, Jurickson Profar, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, Fernando Nunez, all guys that are getting some playing time that they otherwise may not have seen, so they'll get tested as the schedule gets tougher.
Profar strikes out to start the 5th inning. 7th strikeout now for Happ.
With Robinson Chirinos coming up, I want to take a look at this number here. This is the average distance on batted balls this season. That's not among catchers. That's not among American leaguers. That is the best in all of Major League Baseball for Robinson Chirinos. And you might be thinking, well, 235, that's not that far. Well, it is far. You take those ground balls, you take the little ones back to the pitcher, you put them all together, and you average them out. And nobody has hit the ball further from a distance standpoint on average than that man right there, Robinson Chirinos.
Well, the 1-strike pitch from Happ. He'll chase it upstairs. The count 0-2. Chirinos struck out in the 2nd inning. Happ has that strikeout working. He has in his previous starts, and once again today. You keep thinking, I wonder when he's going to go back to being the old J Happ. He strikes out Chirinos looking. That's back-to-back Ks in his 5th inning, and obviously Chirinos, some disagreement for Tim Timmons. And he would have the best argument of anyone.
Let's take a look here on this pitch from Happ, and that ball looked like it was in off the plate. But here's what's more important. First of all, it's an 0-2 pitch. And rarely do you see a borderline pitch get called 0-2. You're going to watch the glove movement there a little bit, not much from Russell Martin, but also for Robinson Chirinos catching Martin Perez today. There's been some pitches on the edges that haven't been called, and I think there's probably some frustration on his part because of that. So then to see that call in that spot, pretty frustrating for Chirinos. That is the 5th. Did you mention this called 3rd strike?
Yeah, no, he's racking those up. So Rua had the base hit and the stolen base. Hits this ball on the ground to 2nd, and Gurriel right there on top of it. So it's a quiet 1-2-3 top of the 5th. J Happ continuing to cruise in this one. Blue Jays lead by 3. continue to work here in the 5th inning. 2, 3, and 4 hitters coming up, and Rangers countering with Tony Barnett out of the bullpen.
Here's the pitch arsenal for Tony. Lots of cutters that we see from him. 45% of the time that he uses his fastball, which has been a good one, averaging 93. The curveball, occasional split from Tony. Of course, he's had a couple of stints on the DL this year. You can see him back here with the Rangers. Of course, that pitch arsenal goes back to the beginning of last season. Last pitch at the big league level a couple of weeks ago, but so far this season, not allowed a hit.
That hesitation and puts one right on the outside corner for a strike. Yes, Hernandez, Smoke, and Solarte here in the 5th. One strike offering. Ooh, that looked good. Nibbles off a corner, a little breaking ball. 0-2.
Take a look at this here. A little, what we call it, curveball slider, kind of caught in between there a little bit for Tony. It's not the cutter. The cutter's usually around 89, 90 miles an hour.
A swing and a miss. So Hernandez chased one in the dirt, and boy, Barnett fairly deceptive.
But does a good job in understanding his hitter and going below the zone against an aggressive fastball hitter. And it's the tightness of the breaking ball that gets Hernandez way out front. He's not anywhere near that pitch. A good start to this game for Tony Barnett.
So one away, and now Justin Smoke, and one whipped him away from the plate. It was kind of dramatic. Smoke 0 for 2. Just put it on the ground both times. Backdoor breaking ball for a strike. 1-1. Oh, did that one catch his sleeve?
Let's see. Tony Barnett kind of put his arms up in the air. That was a good firm cutter at 91 miles per hour. And hopefully Justin Smoke's shirt will be okay. Let's take a look here. It's a cutter. He's trying to go underneath the hands, and he was, and I don't think that hit him. Are they going to look at that?
No, I got him. I mean,
some
didn't
thread?
get him. It got the ring.
Did you see
on
the
his,
shirt move?
You
You
did?
did?
Sleeve, yeah, I think so.
Oh, come on. I mean, zero flesh involved. Zero.
That is true.
Maybe that should be in the rule.
It's got to be flesh involved.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough
probably a
one
better way to
enforce.
put it, but. And obviously that's not a call an umpire can make. But as much as we now look at everything in slow motion and we have replay available and the challenges, I think that'd be a fair challenge. Did he feel anything? Maybe that's
just
not
a
a better way.
pain meter, right? There should be a little. This one inside. Well, they're jumping all over the place, and partly because some of these pitches are coming in. But I go back to the strikeout of Hernandez, who really looked bad. I mean, there are a couple swings there. He looked like he had no idea what was coming. And based on the reactions of Smoke and now Solarte, they've kind of had to react very quickly, almost violently, as if they're not picking it up well either.
Well, I think what you saw the previous pitch with Solarte was that he was taking all the way, and the tightness again on the cutter from Tony Barnett is so good that he just kind of assumed it was going to be a fastball middle in, maybe for a strike, and it was that late movement that got a little closer to his body than he expected. It certainly caught him off guard.
Solarte with a home run and a ground out today. 2-1 pitch, and that one shanked over to the left side out of play.
You know, Tony has thrown 3 games at the minor league level for rehab. This will be his 3rd big league game. So it's only been 6 2/3 innings for him coming into this one. So he's probably feeling pretty good right after you go through all of spring training and feeling strong, and that probably contributes as well to that real good tightness that you see on the cutter.
Two. All the way again. Well, Solarte is 30 years old. Talked about this a little bit yesterday, but a guy really paid his dues in the minor leagues. 8 years in the minor leagues. You had to wonder for him at times, would it pan out? Switch hitter from Venezuela. He's ended up now with 4 years of service in the big leagues. Was with the Padres before coming over in a trade. The 2-2 pitch outside, full count. Barnett appears to have pretty good stuff working today. Love to get a ground ball here. See, keep Smoke just a hair closer. Three solo home runs today for Toronto. Also a sac fly. That's how they've gotten their 4 runs on 5 hits. Those all off of Martin Perez. Perez also issued 4 walks in 4 innings of work. And so Barnett on a little earlier than Bannister would have wanted. There is a ground ball, second base. Kiner Falefa will go to second 1, but no throw offered on Solarte. So they get the lead man, 4-6. They're 2 away in the inning. Mentioned earlier, after this one, the Rangers headed off to Cleveland as we take a look at our progressive upcoming schedule. Brutally cold in Cleveland yesterday. I think they're getting a chilly one again today. Tomorrow should be better. And as we get into the week, it'll be nice. And then back home for 7, 4 with the Red Sox, 3 with the Tigers. Before one of the bigger road trips of the year that would follow to Houston, Seattle, and Chicago.
It's a good matchup here for Tony Barnett. Kevin Pillar, even though we have seen him swing the bat pretty well, has struggled against the right-handed cutter. Going back to the beginning of last year, just a 125 batting average against. So I gotta believe you'll see a lot of those from Tony Barnett against Kevin Pillar.
You see the big season numbers underneath there for Pillar, and he's having a nice day today at the plate. He's crushed it here at home. .357 at home, and OPS over 1,000. 1 strike pitch. This ball ripped down the left side, foul.
So it's interesting watching that, right? And you can't always read body language, and you can't see the catcher's face, but it looked like Tony might have shook to the fastball there. And Robinson knows all the information and how Pillar has struggled against right-handed cutters, and so I was kind of watching there a little bit. You can't tell because you can't see his face, but he almost seemed surprised. He was like, oh, okay, you want to throw a fastball? All right, we'll throw a fastball if you want to. You sure? And ends up hitting it pretty hard and hitting it foul. But I got the impression that maybe Robinson really preferred that they threw the cutter away. He just called for it again. That's what he wants, and I think he knows that's the better pitch against Pillar.
0-2. Oh, fouled away.
And now that fastball, listen, no harm, no foul, right? On the one that he fouls off, and it makes him aware in, it gets that back going a little bit quicker, and it makes that cutter even better away. And he can always go to that breaking ball as well that we've seen Tony use earlier, the one that he struck out Hernandez with to start off the inning. If you do go in, it's got to be all the way in and maybe in off the plate.
Two-strike pitch.
He wanted the sinker again. It's a nice combination. Throw the cutter away. As I mentioned, if you're going to go in, go all the way in against Kevin Pillar. Whenever you get a guy to react like that, where he's falling off the plate because he was leaning a little bit. Got some options here now. We'll see if they go back to the cutter. The front door cutter here. Started in, try to get a called third strike.
Got it. There it is. The called third strike. Pillar didn't like it. Let's just say that. Inning over, 2 strikeouts for Barnett.
What a great combination and great execution between Robinson Chirinos and Tony Barnett. This is what he wanted. This is what he got. Start that pitch a ball, finish it on the inside part of the plate. Called third strike. Pilar doesn't like it.
And the Rangers and Dr. Pepper are teaming up this year to bring new savings at the ballpark. Bring a Dr. Pepper can to the box office or use the online coupon code Dr. Pepper to get tickets starting at just $11. TexasRangers.com/specials, the place to go online to get your tickets May 7th through 9th. Rangers and Tigers. Hope you'll join us as Delino DeShields starts things off here in the 6th inning. Top of the order due. Rangers trail by 3 and just looking to get something going against Jay Happ. The lefty has been very stingy this afternoon. He's allowed just 4 Rangers hits. And he gets a strike in there to DeShields. 8 strikeouts so far this afternoon for Happ. And this ball hit down the third baseline. That is a fair ball. Delino into second base, and he'll be content with the leadoff double in the 6th. Boy, there's so many ways that he has breathed life back into this team since coming back off the disabled list. Another good at bat, and now his speed is out there to create havoc.
Yeah, a good way to lead off this inning. So often the leadoff hitter doesn't get that many leadoff at bats in a game, but he does here with the Rangers down and gets himself a fastball to handle. It's right down the line. Easy double for Delino DeShields as the Rangers will try to put some pressure on Jay Happ and get him out of this comfort zone that he has been in. No base runner since the leadoff single by Ryan Rua in the 3rd inning.
So Chu, who is 0 for 2 today, struck out on the 1st, grounded out on the 3rd. Outfield plays him deep. A little bit of a shift on the infield. And he takes a strike, 1-1. Not much of a shift. You look at Aledmus Diaz, the shortstop. I mean, back in the day, that infield shift right there, that would have been pretty dramatic. 5 years ago, people were like, oh boy, yeah, they see something in Chu. Little tapper out in front of the plate. Russell Martin's only play will be to first. So DeShields now 90 feet away with 1 out. All right, time for a Chevy game break. Let's check in with John Radigan. All right, thanks, John. Here the Rangers knocking on the door against Jay Happ, and Kiner Falefa will take one way off the plate for a ball. Isaiah 0 for 2.
Wait.
Be big to pick up the Shields here and just get a run back and start whittling away at the 3-run margin. Rangers have a chance to sweep this series with a win today. Two and one.
This has been kind of one of our new fun tools that we have had as far as looking at where you'd like to see a fly ball from a sacrifice fly standpoint. Getting the yellow kind of borderline a little bit. Anything beyond the green you feel really comfortable with. And then of course in front of the red, especially with Delano running. See how shallow the left fielder would be, but with that kind of speed that he has, that's what it would take. Even an average fly ball to left field, below average fly ball would score Delano DeShields.
Very curious.
Yep.
On the pieces of data that go into this.
Arm strength has to be in there, right?
But,
based on the
each
defender.
Particular fielder, you think?
I would assume it would be. We're very thorough here.
Okay. 2-2. Ground ball, shortstop. That'll be deep enough to get a run home, and Kiner Falefa just nipped at first base. Ledmus Diaz knocked it down when he lost the handle there. You think, well, hey, maybe he'll beat it out, but an RBI ground out, and it makes it a 4-2 game.
Boy, it seemed like Ledmus Diaz wanted to give the Rangers a base runner here. First he mishandles the ground ball, and then he throws the ball in the dirt. Nice scoop by Smoke. See it right here. Caught it off the end of his glove. It came up a little bit too early, and then he tried to rush the throw, and it was a short hop. Not an easy pick, but a good one by Justin Smoke.
So bases empty, 2 out for Nomar Mazara. And Nomar's 0 for 2 today with a strikeout and the ground out. Mentioned earlier that Happ has been striking out about 13 per 9 this year, which is decidedly more, almost twice the rate he has for most of his career. Is a bouncer down to first, retires Mazara, and the inning is done. Well, the left-hander, no strikeouts that inning. The Rangers get a run back. It's a 4-2 game. And bundled up. They have the Rangers sweatshirts or t-shirts anyway gone, which you need. Hey, how about the home road comparison for this Rangers bullpen? Really amazing, the difference.
Yeah, they've done a good job, and I don't know if you can really sit there and look at ballparks or what factors contribute to that, or just been a couple of bad games at home. They've been good on the road, which is a good sign. I'd like to see that even out a little bit over time, and I'm sure it will by the end of the season. You think about too, we had the series in Houston against the Astros, certainly a really tough lineup. Tampa's not a great ballpark to pitch in. This isn't necessarily a great ballpark to pitch in as far as at least ballparks that are pitcher friendly. The Rangers have done a really nice job.
1 ball, 1 strike to Russell Martin. Barnett with the pause, and then that one a little bit high. 2-1.
Take a look here at what Tony Barnett does. Maybe a little bit of that Japanese influence, the time he spent over there. Certainly the shoes with the great Asics spikes. The lightest spikes you will ever. Oh, they're unbelievable.
Well, he told me we were on a caravan this winter, and he said that he was trying to extend that hitch, that delay right here. Bounce down to third. Boy, that was a rocket. Nunez stays on top of it, and his throw goes wildly by first. Martin is safe. Unfortunately, as that throw went wild, it went to the far side of first and stayed in play. That thing was smoked.
That ball was hit hard, no doubt about it. See Nunez there, one ate him up a little bit. Take a look at it right here. There it is. One hopper, and he got turned a little sideways. Looked like it caught him on the right leg, and then tried to make a play. But you see him instantly grabbing that leg. See how he's turned sideways. Ball, as you mentioned, certainly hit hard. Tough error. Now, do you think they're saying the throw still would have got him, and that's why?
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm just trying to work that one through for a moment, because
I mean, you see Nunez there, right? Ball was hit hard.
You hit a ball that hard that a guy just can't handle.
106 miles an hour. That's firm.
Yeah.
And I've seen some plays this year. I can't remember which was it. Josh Donaldson, a ball went through his legs that was ruled a hit this year.
Oh.
And I don't care if he hits at 140 miles an hour. If it goes through your legs, it should be an error every single time. Now that I don't think that's the case there on that one.
This ball hit hard as well. Out to center field. Around second, Martin. So he'll make it to third, and the Blue Jays have him on the corners with nobody out. Martin hit his ball hard, and Gurriel followed that one, hit sharply as well.
Take a look at the pitch here from Tony Barnett. A two-seam fastball that was a little bit more middle. Looked like he was trying to go back in the way that we saw he did against Pilar. Left that all over the plate. Gurriel able to get extended, hit that ball pretty firmly up the middle for a base hit. So Tony actually told you he wanted a little bit more pause in the delivery. It was kind of part of the goal you were saying on that caravan.
Yeah. Of course, he won't use it when he's in the stretch. As Grichuk swings to it, he felt like that was part of the problem last year for him, was that he got a little quicker with that, right? I mean, he still had it. It was discernible. But he went back and looked at the film and noticed that maybe he was a little quicker, getting the foot back down again. Felt like it didn't, he didn't maintain his balance as well. And felt like the numbers, the results got away from him a little bit. So he worked hard this offseason. Go back to holding that leg up a little bit longer, trying to keep himself back. It feels like, if he can get back to that good balance again, maybe get those results back to where he feels like they can be.
It's a great look at the delivery right there in slow motion.
Problem is, in this outing, that he has spent a great portion of it from the stretch. In the last inning, he struck out Hernandez, but once he hit Smoke, right, that very near one just caught a little bit of the sleeve. Well, then he was in the stretch for the rest of that.
Is he in the stretch all the time? It's just a matter of whether or not how long he can hold that leg
I guess
up.
with the base runners, I guess, is the story, right? Because he goes with the slide step or some version of it. 2-2.
Yeah, it's almost like he does have a delivery, right? One with runners on and one without, or even if there's only a runner at third base, he certainly can afford to have the higher leg kick and the longer pause. If there's an opportunity to steal, you certainly cannot.
I got a couple of strikeouts last inning. And this one on the ground, second base. Kiner Falefa feeds profile one on to first, but the throw is off the mark. So Martin scores. Toronto comes right back to get the run that the Rangers scored at the top of the inning. 5-2.
Take a look at this one here. This appeared to be tailor-made with plenty of time. But Jurickson Profar just got under this throw and it sails on him a little bit. Here's the feed from Kiner Falefa. Talked about Jurickson getting out of the way, which he does well there, but that throw was well up the line and nothing Joey Gallo, as big as he is, can do in that spot.
So Grichuk at first. Boy, that one got him. As I said, that one was going to be close, but it picked him off. I'm not sure he got back to the bag.
That is amazing. I mean, the Rangers do Randall Grichuk a favor first with the bad throw. We know that he's had a rough year, but the idea now of getting picked off in that spot. Great move, good tag by Joey Gallo. That is the first pickoff of Tony Barnett's career in the big leagues.
So that clears the bases. And now Diaz, that one swung on and hit down the left field line. Long run out there for Rowe into a slide, and that one hopped right before it got into his glove. No, it maybe did not. Third base umpire Mike Winters signals out, but my guess is that's going to be reviewed. It looked like it bounced to me.
I mean, we're pretty far away. I wasn't looking on the monitor. I was only watching live, but I thought he got it.
Let's take a look.
Thought there was no chance Ryan Rua was going to get to this ball, and he may not have, but we'll see.
It's a great effort, and of course fortunate too that that wall angles just a little bit,
and it's soft.
Yep.
Yeah, darn it. I think it bounced. Think it bounced?
Yeah, it bounced.
Oh man, that would have been awesome. I mean, I thought he had zero chance of getting to this thing. So I'm chasing it. Yeah, ball's going to be foul. Might reach the stands. You know, again, Ryan Rua, I think, sometimes overlooked at the great athleticism. He can run. He's got a good arm. Good coverage there on that one that will very likely be turned over. You can always hope for inconclusive evidence.
That, and even worst case scenario, it's strike one.
Yep. Well, Tony Barnett is out there throwing as if to say he's pretty confident that he's going to continue pitching this inning.
Yeah. You would never offer by saying, "Oh, I didn't get it."
The problem is you see it bounce up afterwards.
Yeah. Now listen. I mean, it could have bounced off the end of the thumb of his glove.
That's right. I like how you're thinking. I see where you're going with that.
I don't know. I mean, the resolution on that slow-mo replay right there, for me, I don't know, was enough to actually overturn it.
I'm in for the out.
Yeah, I mean, now they likely may have a better view back in New York.
The longer looks, I think, play in the Rangers' favor here. What do you think?
Yeah.
The first ones that they saw were not clear enough right away. I think maybe the ones that we have seen now, of course, as you mentioned, some other looks that they will get.
Yep. And the longer they have to argue, right, the more you have to make the counter argument that if you have to look this long, then you can't overturn it. You didn't see it.
Well, I'm starting to feel good about this now.
This has been quite the journey.
Yeah, it really has.
At moments thrilling, disappointing, and now suddenly mysteriously optimistic.
So now let me ask you this question. So if it holds up, it's a great play.
Yeah.
Borderline of whether or not they can turn it over. Does it still show up, say, in a national highlight reel of great catches?
Probably not.
Why not? It's a great catch.
It's a great catch, but there's a little something that looks suspect to the naked eye. But again, the call on the field was out, and that turns out may be a really huge advantage here. Oh, here we go.
Yeah!
Couldn't overturn it. Not enough visual evidence, and I agree. At least on what we saw. Couldn't overturn it. Inning is done. Blue Jays settle for a run. They lead by 3.
But some good action here last half inning. Ryan Rua made a tremendous play. We're going to get a nice high home view of it. Tony Barnett with a good high leg kick with nobody on. But how about the distance covered? 109 feet. 45% catch probability. Got to drop that down. Come on. That's a great play. Look at Ryan Rua. Yeah, I caught it. What are you guys talking about? I don't even know why they reviewed it. I caught it. Straight face. Jeff Bannister like, oh, really? Little giggle. Manny was able to take one that goes our way.
That's a good reaction right there. Well, Happ back to work in the 7th. And he's got Joey Gallo, Renato Nunez, and Jurickson Profar. 5-2. Happ at 91 pitches.
Think about that play and the reaction and what you learned from that. Is Ryan Rua is a guy that you can count on to keep a secret.
Oh, he's not selling you out.
No, you can absolutely. I mean, the credibility just went even a little bit higher. Yeah, absolutely. I caught that.
One and 2 the count. No, I never saw CJ eat a second cookie.
It's another lie.
No idea what you're talking
really
about.
Well,
it would never sell you out.
No, Dave didn't eat 60 centimeters of hot dogs during the game.
1-2. And missed badly with that one. Well, the Rangers looking to get a runner or two against Happ, and then I think things can get interesting here. He still has plenty of room to go deep in this ball game, and he's shown no signs of weakening. But there's a swing and a miss, and Gallo strikes out for the first out of the 7th inning.
Well, it's not an overpowering fastball, but it's a well-located fastball. You see Martin wanted it up and in. That is exactly where Happ put it at 91 miles an hour, and Joey Gallo unable to get to it.
The lefty looking in and comes after Renato Nunez with ball 1. Nunez had the home run back in the 2nd. It was a no-doubter. This one got in on the hands. Gurriel goes out, and there are 2 away. Well, it's back. MLB beat this streak. Download the app, play for free, and start your streak for a chance at $5.6 million. Download Beat the Streak today. Here's Profar. 1 for 2. Switch hitter, batting right-handed. And he'll ask for an extra moment. 35-year-old Jay Happ. And then Profar lifts it out to right field. Grichuk started back, but makes the adjustment, and it's a 1-2-3 top of the 7th. They will stretch it out up here in Toronto. Rangers trailing the Blue Jays by 3.
Here at the Rogers Center in Toronto, and it has been long ball day. Solo home runs for everyone. You see Renato Nunez. You got Hervé Solarte. Got one today. So did Teoscar Hernandez. That one was in the 3rd inning, and then in the 4th, Kevin Pillar went down on a breaking ball that he hit out. So it was 4 solo home runs that have been hit today. 5-2 game overall here between the Rangers and the Blue Jays.
Tony Barnett coming out for a 3rd inning of work. We're talking earlier about the potential for long relief needed today. Barnett just back off the disabled list, pitched the scoreless 5th, gave up a run in the 6th, and now out here again to face the top of the order in the 7th inning. And it goes 2-0 on Steve Pearce.
He's looked good. He's looked strong. The cutter's been good. It's been tight. So for Jeff Bannister, trying to squeeze, if possible, one more inning out of Tony Barnett. So, you know, it's an unusual lineup today. Got 3 switch hitters, as you see Jake Diekman now warming up in the Ranger bullpen. But 3 switch hitters in the lineup, all righties. Natural righties the rest of the way. No natural lefties. Only one on this roster. It's Curtis Granderson. So I got to believe Diekman getting ready potentially for a smoke of Solarte.
2-2 on Pearce. Last year, Barnett started the year poorly. A 1-1 record, a .723 earned run average in his first 23 appearances. And that's when he went on the DL, the sprained right ring finger. And spent a little time on the DL, came off, and really turned things around after that DL stint in July. He came off, went 1-0, a .251 ERA the rest of the way. Was very good, but has been injured a little bit. Spring training, now in the regular season. The 3-2 up and in puts Pearce on to start the 7th inning. Teoscar Hernandez.
So it's been 9 batters faced right now for Tony Barnett. Of course, he struck out Hernandez on 3 pitches. My guess is that's why Jeff Bannister left him in there. Maybe try to go after Hernandez, and then you can always go to your lefty to turn the switch hitters around. Smoke and Solarte, who are due up next.
Hernandez offers it the first pitch he sees. Sends it out there to deep center, and that one off the fence. Pierce goes to third. He'll stop there on the Hernandez double. 6th double of the year for Hernandez, and a big start to this bottom of the 7th for Toronto. And that will do it for Barnett. So Jeff Bannister signals to the bullpen. Jake Diekman coming on, trying to keep it a 3-run game. Steve Pierce, the man at third base for Toronto, the guy who got him there. Teoscar Hernandez, the double a moment ago, and that forced Jake Diekman into the game. Diekman against Justin Smoke, who's 0 for 2, hit by a pitch in the 5th inning, and he swings at the first offering, hammers that one out to left field, but Rua in position to make the play. Pierce will tag. He scores. The throw goes to third. And Hernandez in there as well. 6-2 Toronto on the sac fly.
Well, Jake Diekman in the game. Let's take a look at his pitch arsenal for the left-hander, what he's done this season. 60% fastballs, 40% sliders. Pretty simple. That fastball averages 94 miles an hour. You saw that first pitch slider to Justin Smoke that he hit off the end of the bat a little bit, but enough to get himself that sac fly.
So Hernandez at third, the infield all in. And Solarte in attack mode fouls off strike 1.
Jake's done a really nice job against righties this year. Just a 115 batting average against for him. He has inherited 7 runners on the season. 3 of those have scored, so it'll be 9 inherited runners now after this outing. Tough spot though. 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. Not let those runners score. It's quite the challenge.
0-2. Well, Solarte having some kind of start here in 2018. Homered in the second, his 7th home run of the year. Leads the team. And lifts this one out to short left field. Rua coming on. It's going to drop in front of him. Solarte dumps one in there to pick up his 13th RBI. Hernandez scores and makes it 7-2 Toronto.
Not a lot Ryan Rua could do on that one. You always have to worry about the high bounce. We saw Joey Gallo get burned on that. The ball that bounced over his head. Here comes the pitch. Slider from Diekman, and not a bad one at all. This is weak contact from Solarte. Didn't hit it hard. You see where Rua was playing, and as he came over, he just had to pull up right there. Couldn't take the chance of a big bounce. Unfortunately, that turns into a base hit with Hernandez scoring.
So man at first, 1 out. And here is Kevin Pillar.
Yeah, that last at bat is a really good example of what we talk about when you have your defensive positioning and what you are kind of betting on. Right? Jake Diekman put the pitch where he wanted, and he got weak contact, and the ball ended up being that shallow little fly ball that turned into a base hit. Ryan Rua's played a little bit more in the gap and a little bit deeper, and say Jake Diekman left that slide over the plate a little bit more, then you might be in a higher percentage chance to catch the ball. Remember that hard lineup that we saw where Isaiah Kiner-Falefa caught it and turned it into a double play against Pierce? Well, you're in a spot where he hits the ball hard. And so when you think about defensive positioning, it's not just percentages of where guys hit the ball, but also based on the pitcher and what you're kind of banking on what you think will happen. Will he hit a spot and it'll be weak contact, then where should we be playing? But if he misses a spot and it's hard contact, where should we be playing? I think that's a tough decision to make based on who's on the mound, who's hitting, and what those percentages are. Again, it's not as simple as 60% of the balls go here, so go stand over there.
One, two. Ground ball third base. Nunez charges and throws over to first to take care of Pillar, so 2 away. Solarte advances, but 2 outs in the inning now, and Diekman can focus on Russell Martin. It was interesting today before the ball game. The Blue Jays made a roster move, and they optioned Devin Travis, middle infielder, down to AAA Buffalo, and they recalled a right-hander, Carlos Ramirez, to take his spot on the roster. We certainly noticed that their bullpen tired. Yep. And those first 2 games, that was pretty clear. A lot of work for John Axford out of the bullpen, so they needed some help in the bullpen. But that left their bench today woefully short. And they start working through scenarios that have the potential to play out today. Like, what would the Blue Jays do if they needed help on the infield? Right? What if you needed somebody in the middle of the diamond all of a sudden? What do you do? And Russell Martin really is probably that guy. He's the guy that they would more than likely move out from behind the plate and use somewhere on the infield if needed, which made it all the more interesting that he was starting. Now he's starting because it was a matchup question, right? I mean, Luke Maile, not the right matchup today against Martin Perez. Certainly Russell Martin the better matchup, but then you start thinking, well, what if Russell Martin got in a collision or something at the plate?
Yeah.
Then where are they? I mean, you know, there were some scenarios today that the Blue Jays were just crossing their fingers hoping would not present themselves, and to this point they've been fortunate that they have not.
Yeah, that would have been certainly a very interesting position that they would have been put in. When you think about that bench with Morales and Curtis Granderson. Granderson, though, a right-handed thrower, left-handed hitter, so you could put him in some spots around the infield. Yeah, well, you could put him on the infield.
Swing and a miss. Diekman gets a strikeout to end this 7th inning, but the Blue Jays add to their lead. have their work cut out for them for the rest of this one today. And then tomorrow, a new series, a new town, Rangers and Indians in Cleveland. We'll have the pregame beginning at 4:30 tomorrow. Our Ford probables, Cole Hamels, 1-1 on the road this year with a .363 earned run average. And Trevor Bauer will have the ball for Cleveland. 1-0 mark against the Rangers. So the ace, Cole Hamels, to try and get that series started off on the right foot tomorrow.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one for the Rangers. They're going to see some good starting pitching. Bauer's having a really nice year. Mike Clevenger has got a good arm, and then Corey Kluber scheduled to go in that one as well. And the finale is Ryan Tepera takes over for the Blue Jays. 14 strikeouts to just 3 walks for him so far this season. 2.13 ERA. Has been a good right-hander out of the pen here for John Gibbons. Guy with a good fastball, averaging 95 miles per hour.
He starts off with Robinson Chirinos. A tougher day at the plate today for Robbie. A couple of strikeouts. And a curveball swung on and missed. Tepera, he's a workhorse. 73 appearances last year for Toronto. Led the team in that category. As we mentioned, John Gibbons looking for some guys to help pick up a little bit of the slack right now. They're a little tired out in that pen. Two-strike pitch. And that one way outside. So it'll be Chirinos, then Ryan Rua, and then back up top for Delano DeShields. 8th inning and time running short in a hurry. Chirinos chases strike 3, so his 3rd strikeout of the afternoon. First for Tepera, 1 away here in the 8th inning.
Tepera is kind of an interesting guy. Originally drafted by the Blue Jays back in 2009. He was a starter the first 5 years of his career. They put him in the bullpen in 2014 at 26 years old at the minor league level. Had a pretty good year. Then 15 at 27 years old, got his first taste of the big leagues, but really didn't kind of burst onto the scene. You mentioned the year that he had last year, those 73 games at 29 years old. That was his first full year at the big league level. So he's been with the organization now for, I guess, 10 years. Really has broken through. That kind of typical story of a guy who starts out as a starting pitcher, finds a home in the bullpen, and sees the velocity bump and the stuff play up a little bit better out of the pen, and now an impact arm at 30 years old.
There's ahead of Rua, 0-2. And Ryan holds off on that one. 96 miles per hour. Good fastball. Saw him hit 97 in the at bat to Chirinos. Rua led off the 3rd inning with a base hit. Since then, the Rangers have had just 1 base runner. So between Jay Happ and now Ryan Tepera, it's some pretty slim pickings. 1-2. Well, it is interesting. They always say, right, the old saw that momentum is only as good as your next day's starting pitcher. The Blue Jays, they had lost 6 of 7 games and were in danger of being swept in this one today as Rua strikes out swinging 2 away. But Jay Happ has had a really good year and had a very nice game today, and whatever momentum felt like was getting away from Toronto, or that the Rangers were starting to build, really was turned quickly by the tall left-hander Jay Happ.
Well, it gives you an idea too of what a good starting staff can do for you, or at least having a couple of stoppers within your rotation. When your starting staff is really struggling 1 through 5, you start to lose a couple. That's when you can go on those tough losing streaks. Same thing can be said for the bullpen, blowing games late if you don't have the arms that you can go to that can't hold leads.
Well, the Shields waste no time and pops this one up in a short center field. Pilar tucks it away, and it's a very quiet top of the 8th for the Rangers. Last of the 8th coming. Blue Jays lead by 5. And Jeff Bannister has given the baseball to Matt Moore in this 8th inning. We talked about this earlier today, that there was some chance that Moore might pitch, and really only in a situation maybe where desperation called for it or the game was getting out of hand. And this one has just a little bit, because he still may start Wednesday in Cleveland.
Yeah, I think the idea maybe of giving Matt Moore an inning here when you have that, that long time in between your starts, doing something competitively as opposed to maybe just throwing a bullpen is maybe part of the process here. His last start, of course, was on the 23rd against the A's. So you start looking at the calendar and the idea of how much time would be in between starts. Would you want him to go, that long? That was on a Monday. Looks like he's not going to pitch until Wednesday. You're looking at what, 9 days rest in between starts. I'd like to do something competitive in between. Not everybody's the same. Some guys are perfectly fine just throwing a bullpen, throwing the hitters live maybe early or something like that, but they decided to get Matt Moore an inning of work in a real big league game.
Well, he misses low to Gurriel, 2-1. Moore, a starter for his entire career. Now he did pitch once out of the bullpen last year with the Giants, but really other than that you got to go back to his rookie season with Tampa Bay.
Well, he also
made one start and then 2 relief appearances in that year.
Yeah, and he had a couple in the postseason, 2011, 2013. But yeah, I mean, just really not at all for Matt Moore as a reliever over the course of his career.
Two pitch. Didn't miss by a whole lot. So he's got the bottom third of the order in this 8th inning.
Just a 195 average against, though, in his career as a reliever.
Oh, a sinking liner handled out there by Chu. Not an easy play.
No, it was not. That low liner, and of course Chu gets sporadic time right now in the outfield. You see this pitch hit pretty well to right field, and Chu will come in and take a knee, genuflect on Sunday to make that play. There he is, just a little self-defense. He's happy to have it. It's been 11 1/3 total innings for Matt Moore in those 5 games that he pitched out of the bullpen, both the postseason and regular season. 10 strikeouts to 4 walks. Say pretty successful. 3.18 ERA. A couple of those outings were 3 innings though.
No balls, 2 strikes on Randall Grichuk, who in his career 1 for 7 against Moore. So Perez started it. Tony Barnett pitched 2 complete innings, came out for a 3rd, but got into a little bit of trouble. Diekman took over, and now Moore. And a ground ball, shortstop. Profar dive to his left. Awkward, I guess, stance trying to get back up. Might have caught a spike or something on the turf. Couldn't get back up, and that will go down as a hit for Randall Grichuk, who now can't be stopped.
Yeah.
I mean,
couple of hits now unless you want to pick them off. But here's a hard ground ball, hit up the middle. Jurickson Profar does a nice job, but it's almost like that left leg kind of gave out under him. Watch him as he dives, makes the play. It can't pop up the way that he would have liked to.
Yeah, I think he was looking for that left knee to slide through just a little bit more than it did. So a base runner for Ledmus Diaz and a ground ball 3rd. Nunez done a nice job over there today. The second one on to first for the double play. And more pizza cake. We go to the 9th. Last chance for the Rangers, down by 5. Local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. Well, a 5-run difference as we go to the 9th inning. Rangers with one final chance. And the 2, 3, and 4 hitters coming up. Aaron Loop will try to finish this thing off for Toronto.
You got the lefty with the low arm angle, and you see what he's done so far this year. Now the opponent's batting average against Loop is up there a little bit, somewhat high. 375 against lefties this year, 261 against righties. Does a really nice job of keeping the ball on the ground, and just 1 walk so far for him on the season. So certainly a guy that's going to be in the strike zone. Tough to get him in the area. Through an inning against the Rangers. That was the first game of this series. Very clean 1-2-3 inning with a strikeout. Just 11 pitches to get those 3 outs.
It fires one right on the inside corner to Chu for strike 1. And Chu's had one of those afternoons. 0 for 3, couple of ground outs. Pretty difficult guy to keep off the bases for a full game, but in a hole here 0-2. And pretty obvious. Your chances at a 5-run rally in the 9th inning are a lot better if you get that lead man on. Little tapper out in front of the plate. Could be a tough play. Martin with a bare hand and a good throw on the run. That's a really nifty and athletic play by Russell Martin. one away.
Certainly is. The communication, first of all, is really important here because this is one of those in-between plays, and he takes control of the situation. Of course, Aaron Loop's got to get out of the way, and he makes that throw on the run, and there's Justin Smoke making another really nice play at first base. You get another good look at it right here.
So Isaiah Kiner-Falefa takes a strike, and Isaiah also 0 for 3, although he did drive in a run of the 6th inning with his ground out to short. 7-2 in this 9th inning.
This will be Loop's 4th game against the Rangers this year, and final game, of course, with this season series wrapping up today. So he ended up throwing in 4 of the 6 games, but the Rangers got him for 3 runs in a third of an inning.
Well, this ball hit well out into left field, drops in for a hit. Kiner-Falefa goes for 2. The throw from Hernandez is close, but not in time, and Kiner-Falefa with a 1-out double. He's got a good arm, man.
He does, and
That's gutsy.
He has shown it off. We saw it earlier a couple of games ago where he made that throw from right field. Well, here he is from left. There's a pitch that is inside. Good base running by Isaiah here. No hesitation. Right out of the box, he's thinking too, and he knows the arm that's out there. And Hernandez, as he lets it fly, and yeah, he had it the whole way. It's a good throw, man, right on the money. We saw him make that one throw. It was about 280 feet or so that we saw from right field. What's amazing there is that Kiner-Falefa was able to keep his foot on the bag. How many times we see guys pop off in those spots? Very common. That's something new for base runners that they have to think about because of the slow motion instant replay, the challenges that are available. He can't even pop off for a second.
A runner out there now for Mazzara, also hitless so far today. Fouls it off. You mentioned that this will end the season series between these two teams. A season series that is done in April. Obviously out of the division, but in the same league. And it seems like kind of a crazy thing to happen. For the Blue Jays, not terribly unusual.
Yep.
This happened in 2013. They played the Minnesota Twins 6 times in the first 12 games of that season, done with Minnesota for the year. In fact, they were done by April 13th. So the count goes to 1-2. And then the next year, they played the Tigers 6 of the first 9 games. Thank you very much.
See you later.
We'll see you next year.
I do think it's a problem in the schedule. It's not a huge problem, but I do think it is a little bit of a problem as far as balancing out that schedule a little bit more. We talked to Rob Manfred about it.
Ooh, this ball hit well out to left field. Hernandez on the run and circles underneath it to make the catch. Kiner-Falefa has to return. Boy, that was a near miss. 2 away.
Yeah, especially with the ball slicing off the bat of the left-handed hitting Nomar Mazzara Hernandez. One thing you can't do, and you'll see some outfielders do this, is you drift a little bit, but that ball continues to move away, and you see it almost pop out of his glove at the end. You track that ball all the way through. See that thing slicing away more and more toward the line. But I'm a little sad that we don't come back to Toronto. It's a good visit, good ballpark, good atmosphere here. A little rivalry, of course, between the two clubs.
Of course, always more fun when you come at in the summer. You get the cooler summers here, but so pleasant. Today it snowed.
So what?
This morning.
Beautiful. It was a little cold walking back last night. That was a little bitter. That shocked me a little bit. As soon as I opened the door, that hit me in the face. A few blocks of a walk back to the hotel. Beautiful city they have here in Toronto. Great people. Always fun to visit.
Loops 1-0. In the zone, 1-1 to count.
Another good crowd. What we see 27 on opening night, 39 yesterday, I believe, and
31 today.
31 today.
Swing and a miss. And the Rangers are down to their final strike this afternoon. So that'll get them up on their feet here indoors at the Rogers Center. There, Luke trying to wrap this one up. A really good starting performance today from Jay Happ. One-two. Gallo swings right through it, and that will do it. So the Rangers come up short. 7-2 the final score, and fall short of sweeping this series from Toronto. They'll make their way to Cleveland. But worry not, there's still more to come. John Radigan, Tom Grieve, and Mark McLemore and have all the player reaction and breakdown of this one for you this afternoon. For CJ Nitkowski, I'm Dave Raymond, inviting you to stay with us. More coverage of today's game continues right after this.